episode of Surviving the Survivor, we bring you the best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation? Welcome to Surviving the Survivor. It is the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime on trending criminal cases. There is not a bigger case in all of America than Sean Diddy Combs versus the United States government in a RICO or racketeering case, along with sex trafficking charges. And these sex trafficking charges look like they are coming to fruition after some more testimony. Jane is back on the stand. This is a social media influencer who was Sean Diddy Combs's former girlfriend, and fairly recently, some of this going back to just 2024, after having met her in 2021, and she's been on the stand the last few days. This, by the way, is week 5, day 19 of testimony. Week 5, day 19 of testimony. And some are saying that Jane's testimony is perhaps the strongest so far, even stronger potentially than Cassie Ventura, becoming very emotional very often. And the jury obviously taking note of this. She was on the stand, obviously, again today. The government, Maureen Comey, the daughter of former FBI Director Jim Comey, leading the direct examination, which is supposed to conclude today, and then we will get cross from the defense. Jane delivering some gut-wrenching new testimony about what they're now calling hotel nights, which is basically a euphemism for freak off. The verbiage just changed from victim to victim, from freak offs to hotel nights. And here showing sexual coercion and financial control at the hands of this hip-hop mogul, otherwise known as Sean Diddy Combs. Jane describes seeing herself in Sean Combs's own sex tapes, being forced to perform sex acts while on at least one occasion vomiting, and then confronting Sean Combs in text messages saying, and I quote, "I am not a porn star." And then in a dramatic legal twist for the second time over the weekend, the defense filing for a mistrial with no go there, basically accusing the government of prosecutorial misconduct. Court gavelled into session at around 8:30 this morning. Sean Combs, as he typically does, is in there. He was wearing khaki pants and a white long sleeve shirt, so it looks like the sweater was gone, the oatmeal color sweater that we've come to know and not necessarily love. And as he typically does, he's reviewing papers, legal papers, reams of them at the defense table. Janice Combs, his 84-year-old mother, was also there. YT Johnson asking, there's a video of this? Yeah, there's plenty of video. And Jane herself, having seen some of it last week, some of the jurors looked at some very explicit video that is only for the jurors' eyes, so they can render their decision once they begin to deliberate. So again, Jane was back on the stand. She had a bunch of tearful breakdowns last week, and that went into this week. And again, testifying about the hotel nights, and also saying, look, Sean Combs was paying her rent, and apparently still is, which is unusual. So I'm not sure the exact specifics of that, but we'll work our way kind of backwards from when they broke for lunch to early this morning. Jane talks right about 10 after the hour, talks about how she saw Cassie Ventura's lawsuit and then texted Sean Combs upon seeing this lawsuit and said, and I quote here, "I feel like I'm reading my own sexual trauma." She testified that Cassie Ventura's complaint was, quote unquote, word for word what she endured. So obviously reinforcing Cassie's own contention that Sean Diddy Combs was a sexual predator. in one text that Jane says she sent to Sean Combs in the fall of 2023, she said, and I quote, "I know I was consenting like you say on tape." And then prosecutor Maureen Comey jumps in and asks Jane, "Why did you say, 'I know I was consenting'?" And she says, and I quote, "I picked the word up from Sean Combs. He said," and I quote, "if anyone saw these videos, they'd say you wanted it." Maureen Comey follows up by asking if that was true, that Jane agreed to partake in the orchestrated sex marathons. We had a psychologist on who called them sex torture sessions. You pick your phrase, but these are orchestrated sex marathons per the government. And whether or not she consented, on the stand today, she said, and I quote, this is interesting, "I'm still trying to figure that out," Jane told the jury. But jurors also saw that Jane wrote on a note app on her phone, and it is the following quote: "I'm having real life PTSD from these nights and feeling extremely violated." So again, this goes back to the issue of coercive control. Even at this point, at this juncture in 2025, while she's on trial, she is saying, "I'm still trying to figure that out about whether she's consenting or not." She's obviously damaged. She talks about her own PTSD, and here we see it. I mean, she's struggling with this. The question is, are the jurors going to struggle in the same way? Are they going to say, well, why did this woman agree to do this? Or are they going to realize perhaps that it was Sean Diddy Combs' influence, power, money that is in essence, was able to push her over the edge and have her agree to this sort of behavior. Right around noon today, and again, we're working backwards to earlier in the morning, she said after reading the Cassie Ventura lawsuit, and I quote, "I almost fainted. In fact, I think I did. I almost fainted. In fact, I did." And then she was sobbing. She says she described three specific pages of the lawsuit that mirrored her very own experience. And she said, "I was just bewildered, just in shock. I was just bewildered. I was just in shock." So obviously relating to what Cassie Ventura had endured in a very, very personal way. Now, a little more specifics about seeing herself in Sean Combs' sex tape. This happened about quarter to noon, quarter to 12 this morning. Jane on the stand says that she viewed, again, explicit videos that were shot by Sean Diddy Combs. And a quote here: "I saw me being high. I was following a pattern, the pattern that I thought he wanted to see. It was like a show over and over again." When asked if she consented to hotel nights, Jane again says, "I'm still trying to figure out." A very interesting expression. Curious. I mean, I know how I would take it, but I'm curious to see how the jurors take this as well. Yeah. Sean Diddy Combs, someone saying that these people are sick, and I would have to agree. Sean Combs used the home and rent as leverage. That's exactly what Jane said. The home, literally in a quote, the home was being used as leverage. And then she texts Sean Combs, and I quote, "You're threatening the roof over my head." So put yourselves in their position. I mean, Sean Diddy Combs is literally paying for her home, for her rent, for expenses. And what is she going to do? If she doesn't oblige, there goes the roof over her head. Tough call. And it's this could be the coercion part of sex trafficking, and need a lawyer to break down the specifics of that. But she again says, "You're threatening the roof over my head." At one point, this is a little after 11 a.m. this morning, again, working backwards to early this morning, but a little after 11 in the morning, Jane talks about being forced to having sex with three men. So we go from the issue of consent to force. And remember, with sex trafficking, it is force, fraud, or coercion. And here is the issue of being forced. Melissa Navone says he totally manipulated her, and I would agree. Jane recounts on October 23rd an encounter at the L'Hermitage Beverly Hills Hotel. And this, by the way, was where Cassie Ventura was put into a like an inflatable pool of baby oil, which is just a wild thought. And they've had people from the Hermitage coming to testify, talking about what a mess Sean Diddy Combs would leave behind with baby oil and other such things in the rooms that he was using. So back in 2023, Jane says, again, she was forced to have sex with 3 men. She names 2 of them. She can't remember the third, a guy named Paul, Sean, and this third guy. She says, and I quote, "I had to leave to go throw up." Sean Combs came to check on her and told her, what a kind man here. Guess what he said? He said, "Return to the party." That is a quote. Return to the party. Jane describing the night, and I quote, as being absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. So he's got a lot of empathy. She's vomiting. She's sick, whether from the drugs or the sex or the combination. And he is telling her very simply, return to the party. Sean Combs, she tells him finally, she musters up the courage and says, "You're treating me like an animal." She said she wanted a break from Sean Combs and was tired of doing, quote unquote, all the dirty shit for him. That is a direct quote. So now she is fighting back. We saw Cassie try to fight back as well. Then Jane testified that Sean Combs would, and she used the expression, love bomb her whenever he wanted to arrange a hotel night. Love bombing is described as a form of psychological and emotional abuse. Jane wrote that she had hit a wall, but essentially he would shower her with love and kindness after completely, abusing her and sexually having her tortured by these guys, not in the literal sense of torture, but to the point where she's vomiting. Joe Simpson said he is the animal, and I would have to agree with that 1,000%. She told, and I just lost my little spot here, so bear with me, but she told Sean Combs, besides treating her like an animal, that she stopped wanting to have sex with other men. And the quote is, "I wanted to make him happy, but it was creating a war inside of me." So an internal war. She told Sean Combs she just didn't want to have sex with other guys. Sean Combs replied that that's not what he wanted from her. What a sweet guy. He wanted her to have an open relationship that he could partake in. Jane put her head down at this point and wiped tears during her testimony. If you'll recall, Cassie Ventura had a very flat affect, extremely flat affect. She seemed to be quite honest, I guess scarred, rightfully so, by all this. She didn't exhibit a lot of emotion, whereas Jane, who's the former YT Johnson, this has nothing to do with color. YT chiming in here saying, "Labeling a man of color an animal is an old school way of dehumanizing people of color." I don't think that race has anything to do with this. I think it is his attitude toward women and what he did to these women, which is being testified to. And it's disgusting. No matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, YT. So then there was a fight over arranging another sex party. Jane testified that Sean Combs texted her, and you'll recall Cassie Ventura was asked to do the same thing, but texted her to arrange another quote-unquote hotel night, now known as a freak off, while he was with another woman. She confronted him when she saw online chatter that he was with someone else, and obviously with Cassie, the same thing. He was philandering. He was all over the place. He was with other women. So Combs texts her when she's saying, "Hey, I don't really want to arrange another night at this point." At that point, he says to her, "Do not say no to me." So this is a guy who's used to being to having his ass kissed, and now here's a woman, and Cassie did the same thing at one point, saying, "No, I'm not doing it anymore." And he's like, "Don't say no to me." Jane responds to that comment saying, "You've made it very clear what you want from me." So good on her that she is standing up to Sean Diddy Combs. Around 10:40 this morning, testimony, by the way, got off to a late start again after some pre-trial motions and discussions amongst the attorneys. But around 10:40 or so this morning, Jane says, "I am not a porn star." And this comes around October 2023, where she says she had had enough. Combs texts her, "I miss you." And she responds, "Call someone else. I'm not a porn star." When asked why she said that, she said, "That is exactly how I felt." That's exactly how I felt. To the motions for a mistrial. Late May, they filed their first mistrial motion for mistrial. It is now June 9th. And on the 7th, which would have been Saturday, they filed a second one. But the earlier one had to do related to the destruction of fingerprint evidence in Kid Cudi's car arson. The defense argued it improperly suggested that Combs destroyed evidence. That had to do, if you remember, with that fingerprint card that the police, I guess, had destroyed. And again, the implication here that the defense is saying that the government was basically putting forth was that Sean Diddy Combs' influence and power reached far enough where someone within the LAPD maybe destroyed those fingerprint cards in an effort to help Sean Diddy Combs, and thereby the implication was that he was directly responsible for the firebombing of Kid Cudi's car. Now, the second mistrial motion just happened on Saturday night while everyone's hanging out over the weekend. This was, again, alleged prosecutorial misconduct. It's regarding Brianna Bongolin. She is the woman in 2016 who claims that she was hung over a 17th story railing by Sean Diddy Combs. And the defense claims that the prosecutors had her testify to that, saying it was demonstrably false, and argued that the prosecution blocked proper cross-examination. So these defense attorneys are doing whatever they can. They claimed that what the government did here made Sean Combs seem angry and dangerous, which is laughable because the 10,000 other things seem to do the same thing. But this specific to the dangling over the balcony, and look, Brian Steele, who is Sean Combs's defense attorney, is as good as they get, and he's a pit bull, and he's tough, so he's going to try. The judge's ruling on this is actually still pending, from what I understand. So the chances of there being a mistrial based on that, I think, would be absolutely next to zero. Jules, I agree with you. I wish cameras were allowed in federal court. It would be fascinating to watch this, which I had a chance to do the first week. And if anyone's in New York City, it is very interesting to watch in person. So just kind of summarizing everything, Jane's testimony today, again, continuing to paint a really devastating picture of sexual coercion, of financial control, of emotional manipulation with the love bombing, and repeated forced group sex, which is the same stuff that Cassie was involved with. In her comparison to her experiences to Cassie's lawsuit, that apparently was very powerful within the courtroom, particularly or specifically because it drew a direct pattern of this alleged abuse going on. And it appears that this alleged abuse was playing out in real time. So there you have it. This is week 5, day 19. And there is a good chance, I believe, this week that the government will wrap. Today is Monday. And then we'll have the defense case in chief, which is expected to last a week or two. So this is actually on target to end well before July 4th, which is what the judge had anticipated, but not that much before, maybe a couple weeks before. But I could see, who knows? Obviously, the question now is there been enough damage where Sean Diddy Combs is going to push his attorneys to say, who's going to say, hey, can I get up there and testify? I'm Sean Diddy Combs. I'm a performer. Let me up there. I'll be able to sway the jury. I don't think it's going to happen. There's always the chance. We're going to see how that plays out, and if it does come to fruition. Let me just take a minute here to look at some comments. And I see one here from Claudia. Went onto YouTube to hear Diddy music because I'm ignorant of his work. By the way, I don't think I can name a single Diddy song. I honestly don't. Very talented guy. Wonder when these unusual behaviors began. Such anger, such hate. What is going on here? Yep. Cauliflower here saying, that's impressive. They initially thought July 4th, but it could end weeks earlier. They always give a longer timeline. So we'll see. This is interesting from IGG Rock. Sway or intimidate the jury. Good point. Look, during the course of this trial, we've heard about Sean Diddy Combs literally having fixers, people who go out there and take care of his business, do damage control. I'm not implying that it happened, but is there a possibility that, someone's family is getting paid off in a case like this where there's racketeering charges? Yeah, there's always a chance that that's going on. I've heard a lot of people too who haven't been following it closely at all who say, oh, he's untouchable. He's going to walk. And I don't know. Maybe he does at the end of all this because he is Sean Diddy Combs. I can tell you right now that it's not going to stop. So if this guy gets out, there's no way all of a sudden he's going to say, oh, wow, I got away with that. Let me be a good boy now. I'm not going to do any of this. It's just going to continue right away. So there'll be another victim. I have no doubt about that. So this is a be careful what you wish for. Someday I want to grow up to be a rock star and I'll go to the biggest parties and get violated by, you need to be careful what you wish for. By the way, I got invited the Jelly Roll concert last night. Actually love that dude. I think he's got an amazing voice. It was him and Post Malone. And I think Jelly Roll is far more talented. I'm not a big music guy, but I got invited, and it was kind of fun. So Jelly Roll, man, he's got a great voice. Seems like a very good dude. He's been through to hell and back, speaking of hip-hop, country hip-hop, and all that other stuff. Tracy says, Diddy always stole someone else's music and did a remix. That sounds about right. From Flora Paris, I'd love to hear a lawyer break down the evidence and the RICO charge. He needs to be put away. We're going to get back on that tonight, by the way, before I forget. We've got a bunch of stuff going on with Donna Adelson. She was moved into a different jail in a different county. We did a special on this on Friday, but we're going to pick that back up. There's a couple of motion in limines regarding Stephen Webster and a woman named Sarah Youssef. We're going to go through those. And some very sad news to report that I was going to talk about later, which is our very own Steve Cohen's mom, Frida Cohen, passed away over the weekend. And he's obviously attending the funeral up in New York. So sad day for the STS family. And I'm going to mention that later today as well. So we're sending Steve stuff on behalf of everyone at STS Nation, but his mom was sick for quite some time, and finally succumbed to all that she was dealing with. So at least hopefully she's out of pain now, but it's going to be difficult for Steve and family. So Miranda here. They were in Detroit recently, and Eminem joined them on stage. I heard about that, and apparently that was amazing. So, yeah, people here would love to Steve. Start to hear that. Love to Steve. Yeah. His mom lived a long life. She was in her 90s, but still never easy. Hope your dinner with your daughter and family went well. We had a nonstop birthday activities, and all of that has come to an end. Emmy, I will tell Steve that you're sending your condolences. Yes, never easy to lose one's mom. Thank you, Vesper. I appreciate that. That's why I say best guests, better community. But we're going to be digging into Donna Adelson, and then there's a little more information on the sheriff in Kentucky who shot and killed Judge Kevin Mullins. It was Sheriff Mickey Steins. We're working to get a show together on Tuesday and preparing for coverage of a bunch of different things, including Stefan Stearns and Matty Soto, coverage of Brian Koberger in Boise, Idaho, and then, of course, coverage of the Donna Adelson trial. If it doesn't get continued again, that would be in August. So we're working on all these different things. Claudia says losing a parent at any age is very, very difficult. And as you get older, you begin to age, you will understand them more. That's for sure. Joel, today, 5 years ago, JJ and Tylee were found and Chad arrested. A very sad moment in true crime history, that is for damn sure. And Lori Vallow just unraveling with this latest trial, which is actually exactly why I didn't want to cover it. It's just become like farcical at this point. Just lock her away and throw the key away. I can't, in less than a year, she will just go and dissolve into obscurity, and she won't be talked about. And that's when her true punishment will start, when no one is talking about Lori Vallow. And then in my favorite case out of Canton, Massachusetts, it looks like they're wrapping that up. Melissa, anything new with the Alexander brothers? It's interesting. There was a hearing today for Carm's neighbor, Ohad Fisherman. He's the fourth defendant in all this, but that hearing, nothing came of it. And they are right now, I think they just pushed back a potential trial to July 7th for him on state charges. But I think there's stuff going on. This is my own theory, that there's stuff going on behind the scenes there where maybe the government is leaning on Ohad. And I don't know any of this to be factual, but it's my own take, that they're leaning on him, and maybe that the state trial will get thrown out. They did set a date again for July 7th, and that's literally here in Miami. So I would go to that. But the Alexander brothers remain locked behind bars at the MDC Brooklyn, the same place that Sean Diddy is at night when he gets back from court. And the same place as Sam Bankman, and the same place as Luigi Mangione. It's like a best of at the MDC Brooklyn, the best of the worst. How about that? Ooh, Melissa says she's done regardless of any of these cases. Maybe I think you talk about Lori Vallow. Yes, I assume you are. Can't wait till Lori is no longer in the news. No one echoes that more than me. Becky, prayers for Steve and his family. I'll pass all that along and try to get a picture of his mom so we can show that to everybody tonight in her memory at 7:00. Sad. It is sad. But it is yep. Yeah, I talked Diddy, IGG rocks. It seems like we didn't talk Diddy, but you have to go back and watch. Gave you the whole Diddy breakdown on week 5, day 19. Let me just double check that, but it is week 5, day 19 of Sean Diddy Combs. Dawn Foster, look at this. Hi, STS Nation. Still home trying to recover from COVID. Never been sick this long. They say that there's a new strain out that's really putting people down. So I hope you're feeling better. I never got it, at least for like the first 3 years, and then I've had it 737 times since, and it is not fun. The first time was the worst time. So it'll get better, trust me. Maybe Sam Bankman-Fried was moved out, but I don't think so. I think he's still there. Someone like Vesper Martini would know if Sam Bankman-Fried is still there. Yeah, I agree with this. Ohio Palm Mom says, I lost my mother when she was 92. Doesn't matter. It's still your mom, and it's never the right time ever. So hug those who are close to you, and jurors, have some grace for these jurors. They've been listening to 5 weeks, and they are looking at some of these videos that have got to be really disturbing. So great to be back with you. We're coming back at 7 with a full show, and I'm gonna go hit the gym, and then I'm gonna come back here and do work to try to make STS grow and grow and grow. And the best way you can help us do that is by telling a friend. Hit the like button on the way out, subscribe, and definitely share with a friend. Am I out of focus again? I have to fix this camera. Love you, America. Justice for Sean Diddy Combs' victims. And came up today. It ain't a race thing. It's a human thing. And he's a disgusting, disgusting, horrible human being. Has absolutely zero to do with race. I would say the same thing about the Alexander brothers, who are white, rich, Jewish guys. Does not matter about race or color. It's how you treat people. And Diddy seems to fall into the category of POS. I'll let you figure that out. Love you, America. See you at 7 o'clock.